Welcome to this week's Resistance Download, Future. I think sometimes we forget to really think about how we do now will impact what happens later. And even if we do think about that, I think the next thing we often forget is that what we do now not only impacts our lives later, but has the propensity to impact other people's lives far beyond our life. And that's an important thing for us to really take hold of. I know in my life when I was 16 years old, had just become a believer, there was an amazing man of God who invested in my life and continues to invest in my life. And he had that perspective in mind because his desire and his passion was that his life would outlive his life and the lives of other people. So his name is actually James Boyd. I've got better pictures of just this one. This one's from one of my office. He is basically my spiritual dad. And James is an amazing man of God who loves the Lord. He's a pastor down in Miami area and in Florida and helps out in a lot of ministries in the schools and is doing stuff with the public education system as well. And he's always invested in me because he had in his mind the future that I would be able to provide for my family and the people that are around me. And so it's really important to live with a future end in mind. We see throughout the Old Testament that some people forgot to do this. So for example, you see guys like Moses who are amazing, raising up other people to outlive his life. So we know when Moses passes away, it's easy. Joshua takes the mantle, Caleb, all these guys are ready to go into the promised land. Whereas unfortunately, we see guys like Joshua that didn't pass that on to the next generation. And we see a whole generation of people that are raised up that do not know the ways of the Lord. Yet it's interesting because even in the midst of a generation that did not know the ways of the Lord, there was raised up a judge in Israel, and this judge's name is Othniel. Now, I've read the story of Othniel numerous times, and somehow I missed this one little comment. It says, "And the people of Israel did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, and they forgot the Lord their God, and served the Baals and Asherahs, the fake gods. Therefore the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he sold them into the hand of the Cushan-Rithraim, king of Mesopotamia. And the people of Israel served Cushan-Rithraim 8 years. But when the people of Israel cried out to the Lord raised up a deliverer for the people in Israel. They raised up Othniel, the son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother. The Spirit of the Lord was upon him, and he judged Israel. He went out to war, and the Lord gave Cushan-Rithraim, king of Mesopotamia, into his hands, and his hands prevailed over them. And so the land had rest 40 years. Then Othniel, the son of Kenaz, died." Interesting little moment there. It says that he was the youngest brother of Caleb. Well, do you remember Caleb? Caleb was one of the only two, him and Joshua, that had faith for the Israelites to walk in God's promise and go into the promised land. And as I read the verse and as I kind of meditated upon it, studied a little bit, I was really struck with the reality that Caleb was a type of individual that lived with the future in mind. He had enough faith not just for his life, but it was so powerful that he passed it on to his family. He passed it on to his youngest brother, Othniel. And Othniel helped lead the Israelites out of an oppressive state and brought peace to an entire nation. And so I want to encourage you, you never know how your acts of obedience to the Lord and how your faithfulness to God today and each day following will eventually impact somebody even beyond your lifetime. So I want to encourage you with that truth. As you live today, don't just live with the end in mind, live with the future in mind. Live with the future people that are going to come after you in mind. Live with the impact that your life could have, the simple acts of obedience that God calls you and I to. Doesn't mean we're perfect, but it does mean God calls us to keep moving forward and honoring who He's called us to be and what He's called us to do. And when we do that, it will far outlive who we are, especially when it's an investment in the things of God. I love you and believe in you. I look forward to seeing you next week.